Sheriff Paul Babeu, Pinal County, Arizona sheriff, very valiant and had a lot of courage to speak up against what's happening in this nation. He's got to go to a key meeting with other sheriffs because the security situation is just collapsing down there as they beg for help, and it's not coming. Now, this is just amazing. But specifically, sir, I want to talk about how we help you. The website's, of course, sheriffpaul.com. We'll talk about the key intel you've got up there on the site. But specifically, I've got the definition here, and tough times and serious times, needs tough realities of high treason. And it's participating in a war against one's country, attempting to overthrow its government, spying on its military as diplomats or secret service for a hostile foreign power. And I'm sorry, I don't know what else a federal lawsuit that's unconstitutional against Arizona and a refusal, what he told Senator Kyle in that meeting where he said, I want it to be a crisis so we can pass immigration reform. If that isn't high treason, I don't know what is. Sir, is this not treason?
This is their plan. It borderlines that. I'm not going to outright call it that. I'm still an officer in the Army, and as a sheriff, I'm hoping that we have a correction here this year, because the path we're going down in America is not the America that I fought for and I believe in. We're sprinting down the path to socialism, and it's extremely troubling. What's even more concerning is the president and his men have attacked us, undermined the rule of law. The president has deliberately, this is a man who's supposed to be a constitutional lawyer. He's very diabolical in his planning and plotting, makes very careful statements to undermine police officers, a pillar of justice in our society. He's done it in Cambridge when the sergeant arrested his black friend, Professor, and said the Cambridge police acted stupidly. This isn't the first time that black men run in fear of the police. And then he qualifies it. Let me be clear. I don't have all the facts in this. I haven't read the report. But he slams and undermines law enforcement and plants in people's heads that we're the thugs, that we're the enemy of our citizens. This is outrageous, and I shall not forgive this president for doing this against our law enforcement. We have a tough job out here in Arizona, and he made it that much more difficult when he put an image of people in their heads of a Hispanic male walking with his son or daughter hand in hand down Main Street with an ice cream cone, the most innocent picture you could paint in people's minds. And then in comes the police officer demanding papers from that Hispanic father. It's simply outrageous that the president would do that, because that would never happen. We're better than that, and we are the protectors of our Constitution. We honor the Fourth Amendment that protects and safeguards against unlawful search and seizure in America. And how dare he do that to our law enforcement?
Well, Sheriff, this is a hoax. I mean, I've read the bill on air. It says if you pull somebody over who's weaving, or you go to a domestic dispute, or you go to an armed robbery event, and you check the ID, and as illegal alien, you arrest them because they're illegal. It's totally constitutional. It's a hoax to say they're going to have Nazi checkpoints grabbing people who have brown skin. I mean, this is asinine, and they know it's a hoax.
You know what? I'd like the president to ride with one of my deputies one night out here in western Pinal County, where we have 2 or 3 pursuits a night that risk the lives of my deputies and our citizens when these illegals and smugglers try to outrun the police and try to intentionally cause traffic wrecks or run red lights, and see how he likes it. What if we took the a million illegals that come in here every year and sent them to Chicago, where he's from? What do you think they would do?
Well, that's the problem, is there are a lot of great people in Mexico, but Mexico's collapsing, and a lot of these people are fleeing justice there. And we saw the railway serial killer. He'd been in custody more than 10 times, and they always released him. I mean, the Joker, I've talked to Austin police, but I've also seen it in the news, we're a sanctuary city. They admit drunk driving illegals with no insurance, anything. They're just left alone. But as a citizen, the book is thrown at me. This is discrimination.
It sure is. Well, I was a Chandler police officer before, and there's sanctuary cities even out here in Arizona, and that's why this law is good, because now it forces everybody to enforce the law. And this is a Class 1 misdemeanor for trespassing. It's not the immigration law. So we take them into custody, and guess what? We're going to be turning them over to ICE afterwards. It's not an option. So the problem becomes, and this is going to be a flashpoint, Alex, and most people aren't looking at this, but when the 29th comes and we arrest all these people, and we continue to, they're not telling us whether they're going to take all these people or not. Well, they better, because we're going to bring them to their facility if they don't pick them up.
I remember
what are they going to do, just let them walk away?
It's incredible. So a big confrontation coming up here. We're back live with Sheriff Paul Babeu, Pinal County, Arizona. He's been one of the outspoken sheriffs that many others have about the fact that much of the state is off limits to citizens. The police are surrounded. Sheriff, I heard you in one television interview describe it as that you guys are outgunned, that you're, more and more things are getting lawless. There's a hit out for you. They've killed and wounded and kidnapped police all over the country. Half of L.A. County jails are these violent illegal aliens. It's a Mexican government policy to teach their people that the Southwest belongs to Mexico. The big government types are putting these people on welfare and using them as a political weapon. I mean, I'll go back to it. If this isn't treason, if this isn't, the big government types trying to bring in foreigners to turn them against this country and then putting poor Hispanic Americans who are great people in the middle of it, and then race carding all of this. I mean, we're not just mincing words here, and please elaborate. I mean, Mexico is a failed state. It's a war zone where you're at, and I can't believe Obama is doing this. As bad as he is, I just can't believe this is so brazen, and our country has fallen so far that this is going on.
It's craziness. What's happening in America, if the people don't wise up, this violence will continue not only to spill over, the threat in a post-9/11 world, when we have had literally hundreds of individuals from countries of interest. These aren't like Ecuador and Mexico. We're talking about people from nation states that are or would love to destroy the United States. Countries like Syria, Iran, China, from all over the world are coming here through this porous border. And guess what? They're just not staying here. They're going other points throughout America. This is a national security threat, an issue. Why was Homeland Security created? And how can we say the border is secured when we say we're only capturing 1 out of every 2.6? This is ridiculous that this is going on, and that the president is looking at this purely from a political perspective and not a national security issue and not a public safety issue.
Sheriff Babeu, what are you going to meet with these sheriffs? I mean, unless it's a security issue, but just in general, why are you going to meet with other sheriffs right now?
Well, I've been talking, and I'm going to get on the phone first with Sheriff Larry Deaver of Cochise County, who's right on the border. And I flew down there just 2 days ago to look at the situation. I'm honored to serve as the president of the Sheriff's Association here. A lot of us are seeing our role, and there's some sheriffs who don't agree with this, to be honest with you, the whole fact of the 1070. And you know what? It's not going to be the solution, because it's like a hamster on a wheel. It doesn't stop. We're chasing our tail until we secure that border. We can't. We could hire 5,000 more cops and Border Patrol agents. You can't deal with 1 million people coming in when the president gives them no penalty. All that's being done is VR, which stands for voluntary return without punishment.
Well, let me stop you again.
Literally a shower and a meal, and they bring them back to the border ready to try again.
Incredible. In the limited time we've got, I want to run through several other issues. You're a very busy man, but it's been out for 3 days. Have you seen the TV news reports out of a suburb of Denver where the police charged an 82-year-old veteran where illegal aliens were on his property robbing his trailer? They tried to run over him, and he shot one. They pled guilty to stealing his trailer. And then they released the illegals, and they're charging him with murder, not just manslaughter. I mean, this is insane.
I hadn't seen that, and it is insanity. And this is where patriots, Americans, we have to stand up for not only our rights and our liberties. That people have always said the threat comes from within. And this is very troubling. And I see this sense of anger and outrage, and we're going to keep the focus here to demand that this problem get changed. And then
with our republic in democratic principles, throw these bums the hell out of office.
Let's go back to the kidnapping issue, because I remember 3 years ago the State Department listed Mexico as the second most dangerous country for crime in the world, #1 for kidnapping, and put a travel advisory out. Parents are still sending their high school graduate kids down to Mexico. Even the resort towns are getting hellishly dangerous. And so for people that do know about how dangerous Mexico is, I don't think they realize that South Texas and areas of Arizona are as dangerous statistically. Can you speak to the kidnapping?